we're gonna start. All right.
Garrett, I got to roll in like a half hour. Do you mind if were you going to talk about is compound the thing where you leverage the money like you're doing? Or?
Yeah, we can do that first.
Okay.
All right, so compound, a decentralized lending protocol, which is, so right now, Maker was the first one that came out, and then Compound came out, and Aave came out. Aave has a market cap of 5.6 billion, which Aave is okay. It just doesn't, for lending, it's pretty good. The interest rates are decent, but for borrowing, the interest rates are super high. They're like 20%. And then when you lend on Aave, you just get the normal interest rate back. But when you lend on Compound, you gain the interest rate back and you gain extra compound interest rate. So that's why I like Compound more. I haven't really looked into Maker at all. But we can look at the total amount of value locked in DeFi right now. It's just been climbing real nice. It's gone up almost 2 billion in the past day of total value locked. So that's the amount of cryptocurrency locked as collateral or used to lend inside of Maker, Aave, Compound, as well as liquidity pools and Uniswap, Curve Finance, SushiSwap, blah blah blah. Uniswap is, we won't get into that. We'll just get into Compound now. So
can you walk like step one of like the process, like you bring in Ethereum or whatever the process is on all this to make sense of it?
Yeah, so your MetaMask is what you use to connect to Compound. So Compound connects to you can have a Ledger wallet, a Coinbase wallet, MetaMask, that you connect Compound to. And then you bring Ethereum or whatever the lending protocol supports on the supply side you have in, and because Compound is built on Ethereum, you can only supply stuff that is in the Ethereum network. And right now they only have all of these cryptocurrencies. The interest rates are really high right now for both Tether, almost 20% for Tether and USD coin, because a lot of people are just borrowing because prices are going up, so they want to catch the prices as they go up. But you essentially have your Ethereum in your MetaMask, and then when you went to supply, you come down here, and I have some Uni. You basically enable the ability for you to supply, which basically just does a pretty small gas fee that essentially checks to make sure that your Uni is actually real Uni. It's actually not that small. It's $12. And then once you enable it, you can then supply it. So if I wanted to supply more ETH, you go in here and you supply however much ETH you want to supply. It'll tell you what it will make your borrow limit after you supply, what percentage limit will be left. And right now that's also pretty expensive, $40 to do. And then once you do that, then you have to click this little collateralize button, which then also costs gas if you're looking to borrow.
Okay, so let's just say you bring in 10K of Ethereum on the supply side.
Yeah.
Then you're going to lock it in.
You're going to put it into MetaMask. You're going to link your MetaMask. You're going to bring it into Compound. And so what it does is I don't actually own Ethereum anymore. I own C Ethereum, which is compound Ethereum, but it's matched on a 1-to-1 to Ethereum because you're essentially locking it in a smart contract. So that's
Yep, I get
why,
it.
so you can do that. You can do this on Ethereum because it's a smart contract cryptocurrency, but you cannot do this on Bitcoin because it is not a smart contract. But you can build you can build layer 2 functionality, which I can get into later, of how you can do it for Bitcoin, and how you can avoid gas fees with layer 2 stuff. So yeah, you pretty much just supply it on this side, and then this $10,000 number is 75% of this number of the supply balance. And then it's just confusing because that's 75% too. So your borrow limit is 75% of what you supply. So I'm borrowing 75% of the 75% that I can borrow. And what would happen, and when the price of Ethereum goes up, then I can borrow more. So I borrowed a week ago. I borrowed $2,000 a week ago at my 80% limit, and because the price of Ethereum and Compound went up, I can borrow $500 more to get to the 75 to 80% limit. And then you're essentially leveraging yourself. So what happens if all of a sudden the price of Ethereum was to dump down and my supply went lower and it was too low for the amount that I was borrowing, then someone comes in and they liquidate me. So they'll buy my Ethereum and Compound for cheap and sell it back to me at like a 5% discount. So it's typically, you don't want to get liquidated. So it's kind of risky to borrow more than, you definitely don't want to borrow more than 80% of what you supply. Usually people recommend doing 70%, but I can monitor enough and take the risk.
Are you borrowing basically from yourself then?
Yeah, essentially you're borrowing from yourself. Okay. It's not, you're borrowing from, because there are other people. You can look at, I forget how you look at the actual supply, so the benefit of what people like, borrow.
I'm still confused on what the big benefit is. Because are you going up on Ethereum and you're out on other coins?
So basically all of this money right here, I have invested in altcoins.
Sorry, where were you at? The 7,900?
Yeah. So all of the money, so I'm supplying a growth asset and I'm borrowing a stable asset. So if the price of Ethereum was to go up to $3,000, and or let's just keep it simple and say I put 6.8 Ethereum into Compound, and then I was able to borrow $10,000 of USD coin. Then I could take the USD coin and I could buy $10,000 more of Ethereum. So you
still have both amounts.
And I still owned Ethereum and Compound. If I pay off this collateral, then I get my Ethereum and Compound back.
Oh, okay. Now I get it.
Yeah. So then if I use my Ethereum to borrow USD coin, which I only have to pay back at 1-to-1 to the US dollar. And then if what I borrow increases in value massively compared to the US dollar, then I can sell only like if Ethereum went to $3,500, then I would profit, this $8,000 would be about $24,000. So then I would pay this back off, and I just multiplied my gains by 75% more than I could have made if I didn't borrow.
Yeah, if you just put 10 or if you just put the 14 grand in.
if I just left Ethereum in a wallet somewhere. But if the
Yeah.
price went down by a ton, then
Yeah.
that would suck. And I would just get
But
liquidated. It wouldn't be horrible. I would just get liquidated and I would lose about 5% of my Ethereum.
So this is kind of like shorting, but the opposite.
Yeah, it's long. You're basically doing a really non-risky long is exactly what you're doing.
Okay.
You need like a leveraged long.
Yeah. Because normally on like an exchange, you would like you can do 10x leverage. So you only have $1,000 in Bitcoin, but you can trade 100. So you have $1,000 in Bitcoin as collateral, and they'll allow you to trade 100 Bitcoin. And whatever the price movement percentage wise of Bitcoin is while you are executing that trade, you get 10 times the price movement. So if you put $100 in and the price went up by 5%, normally you'd make $5 if you just held $100 of Bitcoin. But if you leveraged yourself, then you would gain $150 on your trade if the price of Bitcoin went up by 5% in however long you had the long out.
yeah. Don't we need to get don't you need to get pretty like way in depth to know what you're doing with that though?
Yeah, people usually use trading algorithms that give signals on like when to buy and stuff, or if you're super knowledgeable and like charting, and it's really risky. Like without trading algorithms, you're not, it's going to be hard for sure.
So
Especially when
it's kind of
people,
like,
yeah,
go ahead.
Jared, you said with the USD coin you bought altcoins. Do you do it on here, or like once you borrow that USD coin, do you send it somewhere to buy those altcoins?
I send it to Binance. I swap it on Uniswap, or something along those lines. Yeah. And you can also borrow some. I borrowed about $3,000 of this. I borrowed, bought more Ethereum, and then put it back in here. And then you can borrow more. Like you can leverage yourself basically as much as you want.
But the whole time you're growing Ethereum at what, like say you would have put 10 grand in, and now you can take 7 of it and go play around, but still have 10K in Ethereum as long as it doesn't drop too much.
It's what rich people do.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because you don't have to pay taxes.
Yeah, I got you.
So if
I was going to say, in other words, it was like taking a credit card and then doing an investment, and then you just pay off the credit card when you make profit off of it.
Yeah, essentially. Similar interest rates, sort of. But yeah. And it's what rich people do to, like, if you own a $50 million yacht, and you don't want to sell the yacht, but you want to have a ton of money to spend, then you go to a bank and you put up your yacht as collateral. You borrow $400 million and you pay interest on it. And then you have $40 million that you don't get taxed on because you're borrowing it from a bank. And you get to keep that $40 million, and all you have to do is pay like $250,000 in interest every year or something like that. So as long as you make $250 every year on you could literally just invest 10 million of it and you could pay off your interest, and then you have $30 million to just do whatever the hell you want with. And then when you die, you just give your yacht to the bank. Never have to pay taxes.
Yeah, because it was on a loan.
And normally you like don't.
So we need yachts.
Normally it's not. The reason why this is useful is normally this is something that's only rich people could do, but now anybody could do it anywhere in the world. Doesn't matter how much money you have. Besides, it's really expensive with gas right now, so you have to have at least some money. But cryptocurrency, decentralized lending and stuff in cryptocurrency just allows the average Joe to do the same financial bullshit that super rich people do. So that's what compound is. Does that make sense? On how it kind of
Yeah,
works?
that was good. That was good.
Okay, so that's compound. Yeah, I haven't really looked at Maker yet, Aave, and like these. So I'll get into everything that's like trying to compete with them, but right now these are just the biggest protocols, but they're just having growing pains because of Ethereum. And I can get into the MetaMask gas feature. So say you want to do an exchange on Uniswap, or you want to just literally do anything with gas, then if you get a gas tracker like I have right here, it just lets you know what the price of gas is right now. And if you go, so this is your gas fee that you're going to be paying in Ethereum. And if you click edit, it will give you a slow, average, and fast price of gas that you can pay. And each one of these, like average is going to be like a little bit above what gas is, slow is going to be like barely above what gas is, and fast will be like 40% higher than what gas is. But you can go to advanced and you could change around what gas you want. So if you know, if you want to get a transaction in as cheap as possible, then you can go to, where do I have this? The Ethereum gas price chart. I can paste this in the dot, but you can basically look at on the 24-hour chart of like where gas typically is, or where the bottoms of gas are. So you can see that it kind of like dips down to 90, 86, usually every day at some point. So if you have some kind of transaction you want to do that you don't really care about doing it immediately, then in you can edit the how much you pay in gas. And I know if I put like 90 in here, then at some point in the next 24 hours, it has a super high likelihood of going through. So then you don't have to pay like 130 gas. It doesn't save an insane amount, but it's a way to kind of get around gas fees a little bit.
That's good to know. Wow.
And you can do it also on Uniswap. But the problem with on Uniswap is the price of things will go up and down. And if there's this thing called a slippage tolerance on Uniswap when you're trying to buy a token, and if the slippage tolerance, so I have right now, I have it set on a 1% slippage tolerance. So your transaction will be reverted if the price changes unfavorably by more than this percent. So if the price of Axis token went up by 1.1%, it would cancel and void my transaction attempt on the blockchain, and then you'd get like charged $5 for a transaction that didn't go through. So if you're doing the like wait a super long time deal for a buy of some token to go through, you want to make sure you switch it to a kind of even 5 or 10% price change, just to be safe. So that's if you want to do. I don't necessarily recommend doing that on if gas prices are just like crazy high, but I don't. If you're desperate to not spend gas on Uniswap, then that's what you could do. So how can you avoid taxes legally and illegally? A way to avoid them legally is to all of the gains you make in crypto, you just throw in some kind of collateralized lending protocol and you just supply it here, and all of your gains, you'll just borrow money and spend that if you want to do that. And that way you don't have to pay capital gains tax, which can be anywhere from 10 to 35% based on your income. But if you hold for more than a year, it's significantly less, usually by 10 or 15%. So that's a way that you can not commit tax fraud and not pay very much taxes, is just by putting up as collateral and borrowing, just like super rich people do. Or you can, so on Coinbase, how it works is every time you sell, you get, so if you buy a cryptocurrency, Coinbase flags it and says, okay, you bought this cryptocurrency, you bought Ethereum at $1,000. And when you go to sell it on Coinbase for $2,000, it marks that you have made an $1,000 profit from Ethereum, and then it sends that to the IRS. And then the IRS sees that they need to give you a 1099 because you made $1,000 on Ethereum. So you have to report to the IRS that you made $1,000 on Ethereum, because the IRS has your information and knows that you made $1,000 in profits because Coinbase reported it to them. And that's why Coinbase is like allowed in the United States, and part of the reason why they only have a certain amount of cryptocurrency available. So how you can get around this is if you buy, like for a stable coin, for example, if you bought a stable coin on Coinbase and then you resold that stable coin 5 years later, you bought $1,000 in USDC, and 10 years later, that USDC is still worth $1,000. There's no realized gains, so you won't get taxed on a stable coin. So what you can do is you can buy Ethereum and then you send it to, say, Uniswap, or you could send it to Binance, something that doesn't, that you don't have to give a social security number to. And you swap it, you buy Ethereum on Coinbase, you send it to Binance, you swap your Ethereum for USDC, and then you send that USDC back to Coinbase, and then you change that into the US dollar and send it to your bank account. And so all Coinbase knows is that you bought Ethereum, and then it disappeared out of your Coinbase and went to some other wallet, like who knows where. And then all of a sudden you got some USDC just like appeared in your account. Someone gifted it to you, or who knows where it came from. And then you just sell that USDC, and they'll report that to the IRS, but there's no, if you just randomly get $2,000 of USDC in your Coinbase account and then you sell it, they'll send it to the IRS, but they'll say you made like $0 gain on your USDC sell, because it's just marked 1-to-1 to the US dollar, and they don't know how you got the USDC. So that is something I figured out personally. I have not seen that anywhere on the internet. It is tax fraud. I have not done it yet.
I love that you just
personally.
come out with it, Garrett. I love that you just come out with it. Well, it's tax fraud, but
you will get in trouble if you get caught. I don't see any way how you could get caught with the current system, but it's possible that in the future, this thing that they're trying to do to pass a law where you have to identify yourself no matter what wallet, just like legally in the US, if you make a MetaMask, you have to identify yourself and put a social security number and a name attached to it. And whenever you send crypto to someone, you have to say, I am sending it to Dominic Barichkoff, and this is his social security number, and my social security number is this, and I am sending to this person. That's a law that the US government is looking to push through. They're trying to like track every single transaction that happens through all of crypto.
This is like mainly for short-term gains, right? Because like long-term gain, capital gain tax is way less than short-term.
Yeah.
Short-term is like triple.
It's roughly
on your bracket.
It's about 10 to 15% less depending on your tax bracket.
Yeah, it depends on your bracket. Like I know that if you're like the lowest tax bracket, it's 0%. Obviously none of us are that.
That's me. You're looking at one right now.
Oh.
if I hold for more than a year, I pay 0% in capital gains tax.
True. But if it's less than a year, if it's short-term capital gains tax, it's treated as income. So it gets added on to your bracket. So like if you're like me, where I'm on the verge of a bracket, like I'm like just barely short of it, the gains will make me go up to the next bracket.
Yeah, you can definitely get screwed by taxes. So when the time comes, it's your choice. I'm not
That's just for short term though, because if it's long term, it's not treated as income.
Yeah. So in theory, you could commit tax fraud, but you obviously don't want to commit tax fraud. Paying taxes is good. You want to do that.
When we
Yeah,
all
throw
hit
that
big,
in
we
after
can-
YouTube scrapes this video for
when we
tax
all hit
fraud, and then
big,
we'll
we
have
can
you
go
on the
over some-
record.
What was that, Don?
Oh, good to throw that one out there. Once this video gets seen on YouTube.
So, the Zoom is going to end in 10 minutes because I don't have the paid version of Zoom, but I'll just restart it once it ends. So it'll randomly stop in 10 minutes. So now I have basically a whole entire pretty almost perfect list of every cryptocurrency that you would want to have right now. I haven't starred that because the list was pretty big, and I kind of just ripped off all the ones that weren't everything I had was good, but I don't think you guys have enough money or enough time to buy every single one of these cryptocurrencies. I know I don't, so I don't really expect you guys to. I just want to give you a bunch of options and to look at a bunch of stuff and kind of understand the space and what is competing with each other. And I'm going to go through and star which ones I think are the best to invest in. So I can just go through each altcoin and kind of explain what it is and what ecosystem it's in and how it's used and blah, blah, blah. So you obviously want to own Bitcoin and Ethereum. I don't own Bitcoin for various reasons, just because simply ETH always outperforms Bitcoin every single year. I think pretty much ever. Ethereum has at least doubled or tripled Bitcoin's gains. So to me, it doesn't really make sense to own Bitcoin. There are Bitcoin maximalists that think everything else sucks but Bitcoin. They're just kind of stupid. But they are out there. That is a decent bit of cryptocurrency people, but it doesn't hurt to have Bitcoin, just to spread out your portfolio. And then Ethereum is obviously a no-brainer to have. I have mostly Ethereum, but you at least want your portfolio to be 20 to 60% of either Bitcoin, Ethereum, or both, just to, depending on what you want your risk profile to be. The more Bitcoin, Ethereum you have, the better. But honestly, any of these top cryptocurrencies, anything that's in the top 10 is a great hold, besides Bitcoin Cash and Litecoin. I don't know why. Litecoin is just Litecoin is just Bitcoin, but with more coins, and that's it. So I don't know why anyone would have Litecoin. Bitcoin Cash is just a fork of Bitcoin from a really long time ago that has no one developing on it. So besides those, or what was that?
Are you at all into XRP?
No, I don't have any XRP. They just some news came out where XRP, they were trying to do a pre-trial settling suit, and the government, the SEC, was just nope.
Oh, really?
So that means I don't know why it's even at where it's at. These people are crazy. Yeah. Don't know how it still
MJ's
is
a big
holding this much
XRP
value.
guy.
I own
Sure,
some here now.
the lawsuit could go. I don't know why the price is going up. No clue. I mean, it should just stay at 25 cents and just not move from there until the actual news comes out. It's just a lot of fake Telegram groups that are the SEC suit's going through next Monday, or they're just pushing bullshit on it. I don't know what'll end up happening to it. It's a great cryptocurrency, and
yeah, I just
it's
see
gonna
it
be
as
fine.
the big winner if like banks ever adopted it as a major worldwide thing.
Absolutely. Like if they can get through the suit and everything turns out okay, like this will pop to $3 or $4 really fast.
Oh
Really,
yeah,
really fast.
definitely.
That's where it should be at right now in reality. Like it should be right here.
Yeah, I was watching it when it hit 3 for the first time back in 2017. I had into it, but I never sold.
But it's way like you should have. Yeah, as long as you don't have a ton of XRP, like it's
no,
fine.
yeah, 100%.
So basically, things that are competing with Ethereum is Polkadot, Cardano, Cosmos, Outrun Gold, and Binance Coin. So Polkadot, so what Ethereum is trying to move to a proof of stake blockchain and within like 2 years, but Polkadot is already a proof of stake blockchain, except it's more consolidated and centralized. There's only like 21 different nodes that are part of the proof of stake, and Ethereum will have like 45,000 different nodes or something like that. But these nodes are a lot bigger, and it's just like a different way to approach proof of stake. And it was built by Gavin Wood, who is one of the 3 co-founders of Ethereum. And it's going to be interoperable with Ethereum, which basically just means that everything that you can do on Ethereum right now, and like Compound, all the ERC20s, you'll be able to like port over everything from here, like Uniswap, all ERC20 coins will also be able to be ported over to Polkadot, and everything from Polkadot can be ported over to Ethereum. So it's just like working with Ethereum. It's not fighting against it. So it's just going to take a lot of the load off Ethereum. It's going to have a lot cheaper transaction fees. It's just going to help out Ethereum, and Ethereum is going to help it out. And right now, there's not a lot of projects. All of the projects are kind of being developed right now, and people are looking at as being like the next hot thing because there's some really, really cool projects that are getting built on Polkadot, and it has this testnet called Kusama, which I'll get into later. But yeah, Polkadot's great. It's a great buy. It'll probably 10x this year or something like that. Cardano is also a proof of stake. It's kind of similar. It has some amount of lower number of validators. It's is not interoperable with Ethereum, so it's kind of a direct competitor to Ethereum. It has its mainnet releasing in March, and there's supposed to be some kind of news that comes out this month, but no news has come out yet so far, so I don't know what that's actually going to be. It's already doing what Ethereum 2.0 is trying to do, but it's kind of just a shit version of it, to be honest, and it doesn't have anything built on it because the mainnet hasn't been released. So there's no projects actually on Cardano at all. But Charles Hodgkinson is also another founder of Ethereum. And so there's Vladik, Gavin Wood, and Charles Hodgkinson were the 3 people who made Ethereum, and they all split up and made different projects. And so people hate on ADA, people love ADA, people hate on Polkadot, love Polkadot, people hate on Ethereum, love Ethereum. So these are kind of like the 3 big guys that'll be competing in the space. And then there's Cosmos, which is also, all of these are smart contract competitors. So they have the ability to do exactly the same stuff like this: bank stuff, lending stuff, decentralized exchanges, yield farming, all kinds of really cool, useful stuff that you can do with crypto. But the idea of Cosmos is it's trying to be like a new, better, cooler blockchain that's super scalable, and is really easy to build decentralized applications on. There are some projects that are built on it right now. It's trying to be just like a better version of Ethereum. And if it is successful, it will do extremely well. I'm going to redo the Zoom here.